From a bouncing plane at a Russian airbase that lost its front landing gear, and a French serviceman who decided to play chicken with an incoming jet, to a private plane that ran out of fuel and crashed into a Floridian neighborhood, and much more. Here are some of the craziest airplane fails and close calls caught on camera. Artishovo, Russia is a large town in the Saratov Oblast, about 300 miles southeast of Moscow. It's home to the Artishovo Air Base, where military personnel train on the L-410 Turbolet, a twin-engine short-range transport aircraft designed by the Czech Republic. On August 24th of 2006, a pilot in training came in for a landing. There are few structures near the landing strip, meaning pilots don't have to worry about much outside of landing the plane. This pilot learned that landing wasn't as easy as his friends made it seem.
Малый газ, 85 выравнивай. Задержи штурвал. Плавненько подбери. Еще подбери. Задержи штурвал. Задержи штурвал. Задержи штурвал. Задержи штурвал 65.
It's hard to see, but the front gear collapses on the last bounce. The nose of the plane skidding across the ground finally brings it to a halt. When a plane bounces like that, it's called porpoising. The term comes from how dolphins jump in and out of the water. When landing, it's common to bounce on the runway, float, or land with the nose gear first. The problem is when all three happen at the same time. According to reports, the nose wheel and main gear touched down at the same time. If you've ever seen a plane land, they usually land on the back wheels first. Then the nose touches down. That's because planes have to land close to their center of gravity. If they don't, the plane can pitch out of control, as seen in this video. If you fly into New York City, you'll either land at JFK or LaGuardia Airport. Why does a city need two airports, you ask? Well, it's all about handling different kinds of traffic. JFK handles larger planes with more passengers for international flights. LaGuardia is closer to the city, handling smaller aircraft and shorter routes. On August 2nd of 2022, an air tug truck was moving a Boeing 737 from the hangar to the gate at LaGuardia Airport. Apparently, they were going a little too fast. The plane's momentum took over, nearly causing a horrible accident. Luckily, the driver looked out and saw the plane was still coming. He ducked down while the 90,000-pound aircraft took off his air tug's cab. While they walked away unharmed, the airline still sent them to the hospital to make sure everything was okay. When planes move from the hangar to the gate, they don't spin up the engines. That's because there's no pilot in the cockpit. Instead, they use heavy-duty trucks called air tugs to move the plane. They had to tug this one back to the hangar for minor repairs. Thankfully, they had another plane that could take over the flight without causing any delays. St. Petersburg, Florida is the second largest city in the Tampa Bay area, after Tampa, of course. It holds the Guinness World Record for the most consecutive days of sunshine. No wonder they call it the Sunshine City in the Sunshine State. But when the locals on the corner of 18th Avenue and 16th Street looked up on October 18th of 2017, they saw something other than the sun up in the sky. A 1978 Cessna 402B was barreling toward the street. CCTV cameras in a nearby parking lot were rolling when the plane flew by. If you blinked, you missed it. Thankfully, spectators on the ground recorded with their phones while first responders checked on the plane.
I'm glad we didn't either. There was people in there. Yeah, there's people on the airplane. There was an old lady and a little baby in the car. Oh my God. Yeah, the airplane came down and hit the car right there. Is your mama car? Sorry. You all right?
According to the accident report, the small plane took off from Tampa International Airport en route to Sarasota Bradenton International. About 13 minutes into the flight, the pilot radioed air traffic control saying he was fuel critical. They rerouted to an airport in St. Petersburg, but the pilot only had 20 minutes of fuel on board. They wound up making an emergency landing on a residential street about 2 miles from the airport. A few people had to be treated for minor injuries. Thankfully, everyone walked away from the crash in one piece. The Republic of Mali is a landlocked country in northwestern Africa. It's the 8th largest country on the African continent and is home to about 21.9 million people. In 2013, Mali requested military aid from France when militant forces began advancing on the country's capital of Bamako. During that time, the French used C-160 cargo planes to fly needed tools and supplies into the region. Since landing strips were hard to come by, the French had to improvise. On August 20th of 2021, while marking one of those improvised landing strips, a French soldier decided to play chicken with an incoming C-160. In slow motion, you can see how close the plane comes to our brave French soldier, if brave is the right word. It comes so close that the body blacks out the camera. We believe the orange balloon behind him is what he used to mark the improvised landing strip. The Transall C-160 is a military transport craft produced in a joint venture between Germany and France. They've been in service since 1963, but are being phased out for the newer 4-engine Airbus A400M Atlas. Unfortunately, the French operation in Mali didn't go as planned. While they were welcomed as heroes in 2013, they had a major falling out with their Malian partners and left in 2023. The Kenneth Kaunda International is the largest airport in Zambia, Africa. Today, it features 2 terminals, one for domestic and one for international flights. But things weren't always divided that way. Before the second terminal opened in 2021, all flights in and out of KK International used one terminal. That meant a lot of air traffic and a higher risk of accidents. On December 10th of 2007, a South African Airways plane landed and began taxiing to the runway. Let's just say it wasn't the smoothest ride.
Whoa! Did you see that? Yeah, knocked over a container.
Now, while it didn't look bad at first, the wing of the Boeing 737 suffered considerable damage. And we're not sure who was at fault here. Either the pilot veered too far to the left, or someone left that transport truck in the wrong place. Luckily, nobody was in or standing near the truck when it tipped over. Every member of an airport staff plays a crucial role. One miscalculation, and you could have a major catastrophe on your hands. So, when a passenger plane nearly collided with an employee van in Missouri, everyone was left scratching their heads. Springfield Branson National Airport sits about 5 miles northwest of Springfield, Missouri. June 27th of 2018 was a special day. The airport was hosting an employee barbecue. 3 men had about 10 minutes to spare, but getting to the barbecue meant crossing an active runway. There's a reason they tell you to look both ways before crossing the street. According to the driver, they got clearance to cross the runway from air traffic control. But about halfway across, his passenger looked right and saw the plane speeding toward them. The quick-thinking driver stepped on the gas and sped out of harm's way. It looks like the plane was taking off anyway and would have missed them even if they stopped. The driver pulled over and immediately reported the incident. It's unclear if they made it to the barbecue, though. If you enjoyed this video and want to see another one just like it, then be sure to click the link on screen now. With that, thanks for watching and be sure to tune in next time.